Are you an Army property manager who is tired of filling out 1750s, 2062s, and 1149s? Well, then we have something to show you today. Hi, I'm Josh Heinrich with Tactical Tech, and today I'll be demonstrating the new and improved Automated Inventory Management System, or AIMS 3.0. Let's get started. You just received a new laptop in your shop, so we go to Master Manifest and we're going to add it into our inventory table. We create a new record and start typing in comp lap for laptop, Dell, latitude 7400. We're going to put that into the spare computer box. Going to give it a serial number of 1234567. Got an authorized quantity of 1, on-hand quantity 1. It's going to be a property book item, so we check that property book item box. And we're going to place it in HR01, or it's going to be on hand receipt 01, the unit level hand receipt, and we're going to mark it as a network device. This laptop has BII associated with it. Once we write this record, it's going to prompt us to add in the BII associated with the laptop. We'll press yes, and it adds it in just as described earlier, with your mouse, your power supply, your cord, and your Cat5 cable. If you don't know what these things are, because they're very technical terms, just double click it and it gives you a picture and all the relevant information regarding that item. We could take a look at the 7400 and see that it has all the BII listed under the BII table. Right after adding that item into your inventory, your shop gets alerted. You need to deploy out Corporal Snuffy with TSP-01 package. And the platoon sergeant needed a 1750 on his desk like yesterday. No problem, platoon sergeant. We'll go back to our master manifest, clear the filter, select TSP-01, and create 1750. Corporal Snuffy is going to be the guy packing it and signing for it. Press continue, and a couple seconds later, AIMS begins building your 1750 for you, complete from page 1 to page, in this case, 7. We scroll on down here, and it gives us the ability to place a digital signature. I'm going to go ahead and sign it as Corporal Snuffy, and we're going to go ahead and save it, print it out, and put it on Platoon Sergeant's desk. Now you want to make sure that Corporal Snuffy is also held accountable for all that equipment. So you want to issue it out to him on a 2062. So because he's in our shop, we're going to use an internal hand receipt. It's being signed from Sergeant Danger to Corporal Snuffy. And just over here, so we can keep track of it a little bit better, we're going to put in Alert 2021 TSP-01. I'm going to choose to add everything in that package, everything in TSP-01 to the hand receipt. In addition, I'm going to give him that spare computer we just received. I choose Comp Lap, I choose 7400, and I choose serial number, and I also want to add in the BII with it. Press Add Hand Receipt, and we see down at the bottom of the temporary hand receipt, that computer and all its BII have been added. We're going to group this by box on the 2062 to make it a little bit more organized and easy to inventory. We create the 2062, and after a couple seconds of working, it starts generating our 2062 all the way from page 1 to, in this case, page 9. After verifying the inventory, Corporal Snuffy scrolls down to the bottom of page 9 and signs in column A digitally. Puts in his PIN and presses sign. We'll save it. Yep. And as soon as he signs, it locks out all the pertinent fields to provide non-repudiation and prevent people from changing the quantities that he actually signed for. We'll scroll back up to page 1, and we can submit this via email using the default email application Outlook, and email a copy to all parties involved to further provide non-repudiation of that hand receipt. We'll close out on this, and we'll upload it back in the database so it's centrally held for safekeeping. Press OK, and we'll change the last sign date to today. Close that, and you see everything in TSP-21 is now on this internal hand receipt. A couple days later, Corporal Snuffy is finally downrange and needs to issue out that brand new laptop to someone outside of the shop. So he's going to choose Issue Sub Hand Receipt. It's going from Snuffy to none other than Sergeant Haight. He's also going to choose comp lap, the 7400 that he has, the serial number, and we're going to add in the BII associated with that end item. We'll add that to the hand receipt and create that 2062. Now Sergeant Haight will sign this hand receipt just as Snuffy did before using his own digital certificate. We'll click sign and save and replace. And we'll submit this via email to all parties involved just like before. Optionally, we can get Sergeant Danger on the CC line and sent out. We'll close this and upload it back into the Ames database for safekeeping. We'll change sign date to today, close it, and now you're wondering, is Snuffy still being held accountable for that laptop as Sergeant Haight has to turn it in back to Corporal Snuffy? Well, let's take a look. Let's clear this filter here, search for that computer serial number, and we see that it's signed out on an internal hand receipt and a sub-hand receipt. This is one for Corporal Snuffy and the other for Sergeant Haight. Now, Snuffy ain't stupid. He knows that computer needs a hard drive, and that computer hard drive needs to be tracked. So we'll go to hard drives, issue destroy hard drive, and we're going to issue a new hard drive. It's coming from Snuffy to Sergeant Haight. We're going to change this to the appropriate model, which in this case is going to be 500 gigs SSD Samsung drive. This is not in our inventory because it's part of the computer. We're going to give it a serial number, and the make and model, if populated and associated with this script ID, will automatically populate here. We're going to change the image version to 1907 to reflect what it is. I'm going to choose to select the computer serial number associated with it and type in the computer name. I'm going to change the classification to reflect the classification of the hard drive and create a 3964 to issue that hard drive out to Sergeant Haight. Populates this 3964. Sergeant Haight will sign here, his digital signature, his PIN, and sign. Save. Yes. And we can close this and upload it back into the Ames database for safekeeping. Press OK, change the date last signed to today, and close out the window. Now while Snuffy is downrange, Sergeant Danger in the rear has to prep for an inventory. Just another monthly 10%. So he'll go to Inventory, Prep for Physical Inventory, choose the relevant lens, choose Report Type, and we're going to choose Filtered Report by Location, and generate that report. And the first thing on our list is that 7400. We see that it's signed out on an internal hand receipt, the sub-hand receipt, and we see what box it should be coming out of, and if it was associated with the location, we would see what location it was grouped under. Now the commander is not entirely sure what a Dell 7400 looks like, so he wants something called a picture book associated with that property book, so he knows all the BII components that go along with it. So we go to Reports, Property Book Picture Book, and it generates a property book picture book complete with the serial numbers associated with that device, total quantities, and all the BII that go along with that device. And that's not just for the 7400, but everything else that's a property book item within your inventory. Now you just got a phone call, and apparently things are going bad downrange. Sergeant Haight got mad, lit his computer on fire, so now the computer has to come back to us. Before it does, Snuffy has to reconcile that hand receipt. So he'll go to Hand Receipts, Reconcile Hand Receipt, choose the one that's signed to Sergeant Haight, and we'll start reconciling this hand receipt. That green Cat 5 cable did not survive the fire, so we're going to go ahead and click Delete, and same with the cord and the mouse. The power supply came back to us, so we can reconcile that, and the computer did, but it's still smoldering. We'll go ahead and click Reconcile All and close out the hand receipt. And that'll tell us everything that we did in a bulk, where it all goes. Press OK. And now the hand receipt is closed out, but we still have a copy of what used to be. We'll go ahead and open this up, and just give Sergeant Haight peace of mind. We'll copy all the quantities over in column B. We'll annotate that we received 0 back on the mouse, 0 back on the cord, and 0 back on the Cat5 cable. And those are expendable, so it's not too big of a deal. We'll click the sign column, change certificate over to Snuffy, type in the PIN, and sign. Save once again. Send this via email to all parties involved, and close the window, and it automatically saves it back up to the database. Now that burned out computer and all its BII is still on Snuffy's internal hand receipt. He's got to send it back to Sergeant Danger, and Sergeant Danger will reconcile those individual items off that hand receipt. Chooses reconcile, chooses that internal hand receipt, and looks for the green Cat5 cable, which you can reconcile there, the power cord, the 7400, the optical mouse, and the E-Series power supply. After this, he has his options. He can either reprint that 2062 and have Snuffy sign it again, or he can go over to that old copy, open the 2062, open the internal hand receipt as a PDF document, move these quantities over into column B, and we'll scroll down to those items where they are held, change them the quantities all to 0, and we'll have Snuffy re-sign in column B. Type in the PIN, sign, and save. We'll overwrite the changes, close this window and press OK, and it's uploaded back into the database. Now Snuffy downrange has to destroy that hard drive, so we're going to go to hard drives, manage hard drives, and choose the hard drive document associated with that computer serial number. We'll go ahead and prep for destruction, and the destroyer is going to be Corporal Snuffy, and the witness is going to be Sergeant Claw. The destruction method is going to be degaussed and smashed, even though it's already on fire. We're going to change the destruction date to today, and we're going to press destroy to prep that hard drive for destruction. Now it has been marked destroyed in the database, and you need to reprint 3964, and it reprints that 3964 with destruction information filled in. We can use this as a destruction document, or we can use the DL2500 as the destruction document. We'll click there, we'll sign here, put in the PIN once again, save it here, yep, close it, and we'll go ahead and upload that destruction certificate back into the database for safekeeping. We'll also print out 2 copies, one for the hard drive, one for the computer itself. Let's go ahead and close this. Now we have a couple shortages, so we need to produce a shortage annex to alert the commander. We go to hand receipts, shortage annex, choose a point of contact, which in this case is going to be Staff Sergeant Danger, continue, and it's going to Captain Obvious. Go ahead and continue. We're choosing it for HR01, or we could produce it for all of the stuff we have on the property book. And it'll produce a shortage annex for each end item that has shortages within it. And we see that the Casey has a number of shortages here, and our Dell laptop also has a couple of these shortages indicated here. So now Sergeant Danger has to de-armo that computer and that power supply. So we'll go to turn-ins, turn in, and we're going to choose the submitter, which is Sergeant Danger, the from DODAC, which is going to be HHC, the to DODAC, which is going to be the SSA, PBO's DODAC, of course PBO, and the inspector authority is going to be ECO, and the inspector name is going to be Chief Blundery. We're going to choose comp laptop. That's 7400, and the serial number, and we're going to give it a condition code of H because it's unserviceable and condemned. We're going to add that to turn-in prep, and we're also going to get the power supply on here, even though that's traditionally not really turned in. Changes to that E-Series power supply, choose what it's coming out of, our spare computer box, choose 1 for the quantity, and add it for the turn-in prep. We'll generate the turn-in documents, and this will give us the option to print out 1577 red tag for that unserviceable item. We'll be able to print out a 2765 with all that information put into it, a 1348-1 alpha, again with all that information pre-populated, or a 2407 that your inspecting authority can go ahead and fill out the rest, but the majority of it's already filled in. Now you're short a mouse and a couple Cat5 cables, so we're going to generate an LPR to order those items. Go to LPR or a local purchase request and generate LPR. We're going to do it by shortages, see what we're short and where. We'll order that mouse, update the quantity to 1. We'll get another power supply. And let's go ahead and get a couple other items. Let's just go ahead and order or generate an LPR for everything that's ready. Now that we got our prepared orders filled, we'll go to create LPRs. Choose the point of contact, which is going to be Sergeant Danger, and continue on. And it generates an LPR for each one of those vendors associated with that prepared order. We can go ahead and start processing these, sign them off, and get them through the signature channels. And if there's any items with NSNs already, before we start processing those, we can go and click that. It'll generate an Excel document that we can send as a request to our supply guy to get those NSN items. As we start receiving things in, we can update the quantity received, and if the quantity received matches the quantity ordered, it'll complete this order status on the line item and change the LPR status to closed if that's all the items. We press OK, and it gives us the ability to distribute those quantities to wherever they're needed most. I take a look in the table, I see that I'm short 3 in TSP01 admin box. I'll change that to 3, close that, and I can go ahead and print a distro sheet, so I can print this out, give it to one of my guys with the items, and they'll know exactly where to pack them up. Those are just a few of the things that AIMS 3.0 can help you out with. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and we look forward to seeing you back real soon.